So today's round was one of the first few rounds that I played in Twin Creeks over here with my new rangefinder, which has slope. And no, it was not sponsored. I bought it with my own money. But one of the things that I found, and something that I think is worth noting, is that with a rangefinder with slope, on certain holes, especially on holes like this, it actually helps you hit better shots. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes when I come to holes with slopes, whether it's downhill or uphill, just a little bit of doubt in your head whether you have the right club in your hand can definitely affect the quality of your swing. With the slope and the elements calculated with the distance, it does help you because you know exactly how far you need to hit it. Now all you need to do is hit it that distance. I know a lot of you guys might be saying, yeah, but this is not something that you can use in tournaments. Yes, but at the same time, the more you use it, the more you get acclimated to it, you will also start to be able to do it without a rangefinder, which is obviously something that will be beneficial on the long term as well. So like I wrote over there, given the option to redo this shot, I would have went with a 5-wood instead of a 3-wood. And there are several reasons why. One of the reasons why is because of the pin position. I wasn't really paying attention to the pin position from the tee box, I'll be honest. And that is something that you usually do, especially on short par 4s. And it's something that I do pay attention to in tournaments. So that was my mistake. But one of the reasons why is because this is a short hole itself. And generally, it is much harder to approach a green from one of those awkward distance, such as anything less than 50 yards. But it's also easier to stop the ball when you have a full shot. Because of where I hit my tee shot, I ended up being a little bit in the rough as well. So that made this approach shot a very difficult one. So similar to what I asked you previously about the importance of speed versus line, one of the things that can affect the speed of a green or a putt is the grain as well. So on this, you cannot really see it from the video, but if you could see it from the other angle, you could see that it was definitely glossier on the other side. So for this putt, I had to putt it a lot harder than it had to be if it was just a flat putt that wasn't into the grain. And you'll be able to see that based on the strength of the putt that I hit here. Another benefit of making sure you pay attention to the grain to make sure that it does not affect your speed is that sometimes it might leak on to the rest of your holes. What I mean by this is sometimes you might be putting into the green, but because you did not pay attention to that, you might think that the green is slow, so you end up putting it harder. When in fact, what really happened is that you were just putting into the grain on that one specific hole. So what can happen is that you start putting harder and now you're missing the putts way too long. So paying attention to the grain is very important. So with regards to what I said just now about speed versus line, speed is actually more important than line because if you think about this, you actually do not know the line of any putt if you do not know what speed you're going to hit it at. This is because the line of a putt is determined by the speed. The harder you hit it, the less break you're going to take. The softer you hit it, the more break you're going to have to take. So before thinking about your line, it is very important to make sure that you know what speed you're going to hit a putt at. Additionally, as you can see here, even though I did not read the correct line for this putt, I thought that it was not going to break as much, but it did break quite a little bit. You can still see that I left myself in a pretty decent position because my speed was correct. Having the right speed when you putt is always going to give yourself a much easier putt coming back as well.